Hello people, and welcome back to part 43 of Palaven, now of another Cities Skylines build. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And thank you so much for all support, kind comments and suggestions on last episode. You guys really enjoyed the little commercial town centre that we put together here. Not a single dislike on this video, which is really unusual. Yeah, thank you so much. Really well received video, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And how about the sunset? Yes please. A little bit Borealis spice here as well. Very nice. Palaven is certainly coming together, isn't it? It really is. And in today's episode, we've got a nice little kind of boxed in area to work with here. Lots of suburban spice to be had today, I think. I've decided that we are going to kind of separate the hillside suburb here into its own kind of mini build. This will be quite an expensive, almost luxury kind of area to live in Palaven, right? Up on the hill here, looking out over the city. It's going to be very nice indeed. And then today, we're going to be working on kind of our outerlying suburbia, you know, kind of the thing that looks over to this skyline. You can see all the high rises over here in the distance. And there will still be some more high rises to come. Over here, where we currently have all this dead space, I think we're going to mooch through with some IT cluster stuff, get some nice trams going through there, lots of elevated pedestrian walkways, and introduce a little bit of a mini transport hub with the trams and the two metro stations. And give them a crossing point right here to get between the two methods. We'll probably do this next episode maybe. A little bit of IT cluster spice to get some nice high rises in up against the highway here. And continue that kind of gradual transition, right? Kind of bring some height into these areas and transition from this side as well where the green city stuff is lying. Lots of exciting plans, I think. Lots of exciting plans. However, as we are taking inspiration to crawl away from the downtown, that means we have to jump into Google Earth and we'll go have a look at Pittsburgh, which is our inspiration for Palaven, and see how kind of Pittsburgh outlying suburbia is constructed. Hello everyone, and welcome to Google Earth. So, right here, this is what we're going to be taking inspiration from today, right? Lots of this kind of outlying suburbia that when we kind of sit over the roofs here, we look over to that fantastic skyline, right? I think Palaven's is a little further away than this, but yeah, we're not building an exact replica here. Okay, so let's see kind of what we're playing with here. Let's have a look at the housing layouts. So it looks as though we almost start off with a little bit of high density. There's some slight kind of apartment vibes to these. And as we move back, we kind of fall into these small little houses. In terms of the roads, we've got lots of trees, lots of treed roads. We can definitely replicate this in cities. However, surprisingly, there is kind of very significant pops of height in amongst all this suburbia. There's a big one over here as well. This little city view building here. Some tennis court spice behind as well. Absolutely kind of introduce those vibes. And even some larger car park details in here too. There's almost like a smaller town centre here with a little, it's like a little shopping mall maybe, little shop and save. And is that dollar something? Dollar Bank? I don't know what that is. Americans will be able to confirm in the comments, I'm sure. But yeah, it's like a little bit of a school centre here. Get some school parks going in amongst all these suburbs. But you can just see, kind of check out the pattern. There's some open green space. Kind of see how there's houses here and then not for some reason. I'm pretty sure actually someone said that they ended up demolishing a lot of the houses in Pittsburgh because people wanted to get out of the city and kind of into these suburbs out here. I don't know if that's true or not. He could have just been egging me on. No idea. I don't know the history of Pittsburgh clearly. But you know, having something like this up on your second monitor or your phone while you're building, great inspiration. You can see lots of back garden spice here as well. So it gives us an indication, you know, not to build the houses back to back. We can even come through with some personalised kind of back garden stuff using some fencing and park life props. In today's episode. Even here as well, little Crawford Parklet. Some nicer higher end houses here. So kind of primarily low density, but a little bit of high density in there as well. We'll be very selective with the assets that come in today too. To kind of achieve this outlying suburb, but really the key point that we're after, right, is this view, you know? This is what we're going for today. So it should be quite fun. So let's get started, shall we? So I think we're going to start out here using a little bit of high density to border up against the town centre edge. And there is a very kind of distinct asset that I'm after here. I know which one it is. It's going to be those little apartments that come with the Green Cities DLC. So, let's draw ourselves that little Green Cities area. Throw on sustainable housing specialization and start to draw in some shapes. We'll see what appears. I think what we will do even is just... Or do we want them on the road? Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll have them on the road. And I believe they're 3x3, but we'll play with a couple of different shapes here. See what comes in. Okay, absolutely too tall. Yeah, it's these ones here. These are the ones that I'm after. Yeah, these are certainly a contender. Let's turn off our day-night cycle here. Back into a little more daytime stuff. Yes, I think a nice row of these up alongside the main road. So there's a little different variation as well. One with a car park out front. I think we'll go for the ones with the car parks. So what was this? This is a little 3x3 spot, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Okay. These ones aren't a bad shout as well, though. I think we might introduce a couple of these. Almost as like those pops of height that we saw on Google Earth, you know? Maybe squeeze one of these onto the corner by the monorail. What shape was this? This is a 4x3. Okay, let's extend our Green Cities district out here. I think, you know, we've done this many times in Palaven before. Being selective with what assets are going to come in. It will really make a huge difference to that skyline in the end. It's not the hell, there's a new variation here now as well. How many is there? I think we'll go for this first one, the 3x3s. I think these are alright. Okay, let's go ahead and get these in. Okay. I think I'm on board with that. I'm happy with the kind of combination of colours here. We've got a Green Cities asset developing on the corner here. There's a little pop of height, but I don't think I'm happy with that one. We'll wait for another one to come in. Could of course just use Plop the Growables to get these in, but we'll try and avoid it where possible, I think. And then looking at kind of Google Maps inspiration again, there's almost like a little like private car park for these kind of flats or apartments, whatever you want to call them. And I think we'll try and replicate that with a little bit of 4x4 spice in here. So let's also give this district a organic and local produce specialization. And then we'll come through with some 2x2 commercial. My measurements are off, of course they are. We'll go ahead and straighten this up, wait for some car parks to come in, and then we'll have like a little car park spice for these apartments maybe. I think we'll actually go for the 3x2 covered. So same specialization, but just go by 3x2 instead of 2x2. We can also do this by 4x2 as well. Just has to have the local organic produce specialization on it. Okay, and then of course where we have the little gap where I've not straightened up my measurements, just flesh out with a little pathway. Maybe even come through some fences around here as well. And similar again with kind of the border around these apartments. We'll come through some some path stuff. And then again, we can now begin to repeat that theme opposite this direction. So we had, what was it here? The one tile space between the road and everything else. We can hook in here. Let's move our Green Cities area back just a touch more. This will be a nice little combination of Green Cities assets, I think, in order to introduce a little bit of high density. Might bring it also down here as well. I guess we'll see how things develop. Okay, let's go ahead and get some more high density in, and then we'll see how this kind of works towards the end. Okay, so I think I'm fairly happy with this right now. Let's come through with some park life with decoration, and we'll just begin to flesh out a little bit of a boundary around here. And of course, where we have this empty space, I think we predominantly used farm fence in this town centre, didn't we? Yeah, I think we'll stick with the farm fencing for this. Come off the grid. And actually, no, I think we will stick into the grid. Make it quite a uniform box. Let's maybe come off the grid here. And road length. Immediately contradict to myself. Okay, no road guideline. Okay. Fantastic. And then again, I think we'll move something a little more suburban. Let's just go for some of these smaller trees, maybe. A couple here and there, maybe. Occasional pine. No, not everyone is a lover of the Corsican pines. But we'll see how we get on today. Okay, just a little bit of bordering, almost like a little private set of apartments and flats, you know. It would be ideal to have these facing into this centre, which we might do towards the detail time lapse, but I think it's a general principle. It's a little bit high density or focused around a smaller car park design. That's not symmetrical, we are aware. But I think we can get away with it. Bring that same fence design over to this side as well. A couple of these smaller trees in. And then a few of these larger ones too. And some smaller bushes. Always works nicely, I think, with the Green Cities assets. We should see some people start to pick up in this area now, which will be exciting. It would be ideal to bring the pathway down here, but I think we can live with it. Okay, a nice little bit of transitional high density away from the town centre there. I think I'm happy with that. And this is the asset that I wanted in. Which is great news. We do want to stop this from levelling up though. And let's also expand that monorail line as well. Which will flow into the eventual airports. And I think what we'll do with this big 6-lane here is come through and make some kind of very grand roundabout interchange that feeds into the highway, and then you kind of serve it as a very grandiose entrance into the airports, which will sit within this space here. I need to save ourselves a fair bit of room. The river is still leaking. Look at the terraforming here, by the way. It looks as though the devs knew that this river was absolutely bat crazy, because they've like elevated it up to stop it seeping into this little like flat plane here. Paradox knew. Paradox knew that this river was insane. See, it's still trying to leak here. Silly river. Okay, so I'm happy with that. We'll get some worker demand while people move in, which is fine. Let's pause the game so we don't get any abandonment. And then we'll kind of relocate over to this side of the town centre now. And we'll do something a little fancier to merge into some of these outer-lying suburbs here. So I think we'll come out from this point right here. And while we're doing this, I'm just going to come to road length, angle, and grid. I'm avoiding the road guideline just so we don't shatter the grids here, because if we start snapping onto road guidelines that aren't perfectly parallel, you can see here how the grid is starting to break. Then, you know, I don't really want that. I want lots of nice zonable opportunities to appear within this suburb right here, these types of areas. However, obviously we want to maintain that kind of idea of, you know, they're not all back to back or next to each other like this, you know, there's space between them and their patterns are very staggered. They're not all kind of uniform, so we want to kind of keep that idea in mind. Let's start playing with some different shapes and sizes here. And with this kind of larger space in the back, we'll also save room for a little bit of kind of back garden decoration, which isn't something we've done vast amounts of in Palaven, to be fair, so it'd be interesting to see how it turns out. Again, I think we will match up to the edge of the zone in here. Very similar, maybe take the occasional one out. And then let's just see how this block of residential begins to develop now. We'll come through some pathways, of course. Don't have to be everywhere, but we'll try some designs. So we'll absolutely come through and make a lot of these historical, kind of at levels 1 to 3. Don't really want them getting to levels 4 and 5 because they get quite mansion vibes about them then, and that'll really take away from the aesthetic if people have got kind of like pools in the back garden and stuff. But yeah, it's these kind of houses. This is what we're after. They're going to look nice up alongside the main road too. This is going to be a pretty busy road. So I think while we're going to have a little play with some back garden ideas, we're going to come and use some forestry fence here. And just start to line up alongside this fence. And let's bring a pathway through here as well. Okay. And then we can use this to formulate a little bit of kind of back garden spice. You don't have to repeat this for every single block, and I probably won't because there's a ton of space to fill here. Where we'll play with some ideas. So let's bring in some fencing. Just snap into the angle and give in each little house its own box, right? I guess these guys can have a shared back garden. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. And then we'll repeat it along this side as well. Again, I'm not going to bring paths through all these little spaces. Did you know? Pittsburgh has some of that open green space as well. Not everything is filled out. Which is very much kind of the opposite of how I play. And we come into Park Life and grab some of these props. And we get a whole bunch of little slides here. A little merry-go-round. Fountain perhaps. Maybe like a little bench. Maybe like this smaller fountain, maybe like a bird bath. I think that's kind of like actual fountain vibes, isn't it? Look like a bigger tree. Even get some gazebos in here as well if we wanted to. And then we'll come through with our larger trees. And then maybe introduce, I think the U's are going to be basically perfect for all this kind of back garden design, aren't they? Yeah. Okay, and then maybe just some kind of smaller tree designs in and around. But we can soon just create this little illusion that these are kind of back gardens, right? Of course Sims don't interact with these assets, which is a little bit of a shame, but yeah. Super concept idea. It's very much kind of early designs. We'll absolutely kind of expand on this, but you get the point, right? This is what we're going for. I think it is. Okay. We did also have a comment last episode, which I will remember to throw up on screen just about now. To combine the gymnasium with the high school asset, which I think will be really nice. Let's go ahead and have a little look at that design, shall we? So this was a suggestion because a lot of the high schools in America tend to have larger gymnasiums tethered to them. And we can actually come through and get some perfect car park designs in here to sit outside this high school. Which I think is what we'll do. And we'll almost use the high school as an excuse to leave this town centre. So let me bring my Green Cities district over here now. Because I know that I'm going to want some car parks out here. Yeah, it's all contributing to that kind of transitioning away from the town centre, isn't it? I think it is. Okay, so we'll have some car parks out front of the school. I don't want it right up against the road either. Let's maybe leave ourselves 3 tiles right here. And let's have a look at the gymnasium asset itself. So it's this one here. Sports Hall Gymnasium. So if we wanted to place this in, that looks a little strange just right next to it. So maybe we'll use it as a bordering asset up alongside the main road. Let's take away this road. Bring it out a little further. Yeah, and then just about there. Let's take this away. Have the gymnasium up along this side. And then let's also bring, let's come to road length right here. Now we're going to design a little school park. Now, this is one of my favourite things to do. I love designing these little school parks just to flesh out some of the service assets a little more. And then let's also grab some tennis courts. Grab some tennis courts and yeah, I think we'll stick with 2 tennis courts. Maybe basketball would be more appropriate for America. Who knows? Who knows? And then again, we'll bring it down to this side. Let's go ahead and get those car parks in. Using our 2x2 trick here. Okay, so kind of like a main car park at the school. It's going to work really nice with the gymnasium and the tennis courts. And let's dive into our fences. Grab ourselves a park fence. And again, I think what we'll do is actually come through with our path first. We'll go with one of the university paths. Come to our grid. And then we can get a nice little, almost border around the edge of the school. Yes, please. And then let's maybe add in a connection here as well. And then we can come through with that fence design again. And then just use this as an excuse to kind of draw a boundary around the edge of the school. And I think we'll come into the grid actually. There we go. And then let's maybe bring in a couple of different tree designs here. Maybe a triplet of Palaven pines with just some smaller overgrowth around the base. A couple of little rocks here and there too. Nothing too fancy. Something to flesh out these empty areas with maybe. Okay. And a couple of little bushes. Okay. I think rather than just, you know, spamming schools down and leaving them on the road, we can combine a couple of assets like medicine, parkland and education to form something of an actual school park, you know? I think I'm fairly happy with that. We'll also come through with some larger trees around the back here too. Okay, thank you so much for the suggestion, and that is a really nice combination of assets if I do say so myself. Yeah, great. Gymnasium, high school and parks, or tennis courts. Kind of contributes to a nicer kind of school vibe, doesn't it? We did something very similar over in the starting suburb. Where is it? Right here, isn't it? See how we kind of combine lots of pathways and fencing, park assets and pathways. We actually use 2 schools over here. Really like this part of town. See how big these houses get if we don't historical them? Like, we don't want this vibe over here. Got that view now as well. Yes, please. Okay. Cool. So let's carry on mapping out some of these suburban networks, shall we? Again, I think we'll leave a little bit of room, maybe 3 tiles between this school design and everything else. Of course, come off our road guideline again. So we maintain those perfect grids. We'll also add a connection in from this point too. Let's bring that down, and then again onto this road. We'll come through and remove all the traffic lights. This large industrial road will have the priority as it flows through this area. We get some nice kind of green parkland between the river and the road as well. So I'm certainly feeling these little green city high densities as a nice little pop of height up alongside the monorail here. It's a very nice addition. I think what we'll also do is come through with a little bit of cycle infrastructure in this part of town. Let's not neglect our cycle highway. So I think we'll come up by 3 inclines, and then we'll have the cycle highway run totally parallel with the monorail. I could go back through and align the posts, which I think we will. I don't think we can live with that. We have to have the posts aligned with the monorail, I think. But as a nice little break of height, I think that'll be nice. And then we'll also come back into the town centre and upgrade a few of these roads into cycleways. We do have some cycling structure over here, don't we? Okay. Let's turn all this into cycleway then. And then also kind of mooching down here into the town centre. Bring it down there. And then also this one too. Just so the loop completes. Fantastic. Should see a few more folks cycling around here now. And of course when that airport becomes active and this cycle network, oh, it's going to look so good with the monorail flowing through here. We're looking forward to that. That'll look really sweet. Very nice indeed. Okay. Super duper. Let's just continue to map out some road networks here. Again, just continuing kind of follow the open space that we've got. Bring it up here, saving some room for some nice pathways to come through, of course, very much to kind of how we've done it in this style. You know, where we kind of have some slightly more awkward space, if you will. Great opportunity to come through with some of that road against road design. Squeezing some kind of park asset here. Let's see what we've got to play with. Hopefully a dog park will go in this place. Yes, it does. Wonderful. Totally unplanned. Fantastic. And I think maybe we'll introduce just a little bit of kind of dead suburban path using the nature reserve stuff. Just kind of draw a little box around our parkland here. Okay. It's a nice way to kind of fill out a street corner. It's not too bad, I don't think. And we can also introduce maybe some smaller commercial blocks into here as well to satisfy a little bit of that commercial demand. And then again, I think nature reserve path, right? What path did we use for the school? Actually, we used the university one, didn't we? Okay. So let's continue kind of merging away from that school palette. This is almost like a tiny little retail park. For the English in the chat, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Great little tip here. So you know with the larger park life paths, right? You see how they're slightly larger than the vanilla ones here. And you can't come out from one tile in either side, right? See how it snaps up? Because it just won't do it. It's not playing game. Because we can do it with the vanilla paths, right? So let's draw in our vanilla path right here. And then take it down to there. We can then go ahead and grab that university path. And then upgrade them. And it will work. It's a nice little kind of tip. Educational as well as entertaining. I hope. I hope. Okay, let's continue to flash out. Maybe add some little park-like gazebos in here maybe. We very rarely use the gazebos up against the road. I'm absolutely in my element building suburbs. It is easily one of my favourite styles to build in. I really do enjoy it. Okay. Maybe a little bit of mixed tree spice around here maybe. Something a little different. And how are we looking? Okay. I am nodding my head. In case you guys couldn't tell. Happy with this. Got a burger bite in here as well. Throwback. I can actually read, I promise. There's another one here as well. This is a kind of like an unbranded burger bite. Hipster bite, if you will. Okay, I'm happy with this. This is a nice way to transition away from that town centre. Lots of people moving around here now. Not too many cyclists, but we'll hook these guys in. I think what we will do actually, let's go ahead and grab a little cycleway. Little cycle pathway. And we'll just very roughly hook it into the existing cycle infrastructure for right now, just so it makes a little more sense for them to come through. I think path borders have absolutely become one of my favourite things in Palaven. Really kind of hugging assets like this in uniform zoning is it's on my street. I'm getting some people using it to get in at the school here now as well. The school is getting a little busy with people obviously going to school, as you would expect. But Nice little suburbia beginning to develop now. Nice little suburbia just beginning to kind of form here. A lovely view down Main Street. You can just see the arch of the bridge way in the distance there too. That comes from the other small town. So I want to discuss a little pattern right here for the back of this little suburb. I'm going to bring a little pathway down. And I think we'll continue this one straight up to there. Fantastic. And then we'll come through again with maybe a little bit of forestry fence just to border it up, I think. Did something very similar over in the other small town suburb. Kind of fence and path borders like this, okay? And then we can create repeated patterns if we want to with small trees. Depends kind of if you really want that landscape looked. It's all open to your own interpretation, your own preferences. It's a little pathway like that. It's a little alleyway behind the houses. It's a little way for Sims to walk down there. Okay, well it's starting to come together now, I think, isn't it? Starting to come together. A few of these houses don't really match this style. These ones in particular are a little bit standout-ish. I really like these. These are very much my style. So what I've kind of been doing, especially over here, is just as kind of houses are forming, coming through and then removing blocks of zoning around what spawns in. It's actually a nice way to kind of get that very broken random pattern that Pittsburgh has, rather than trying to specifically kind of draw them out like this. You just get some slightly more random patterns like this, I think. Okay, wonderful. So can I give an example here? Fill all this in, and then kind of what spawns in is just a little more random. Okay, maybe grab another pathway here. Take that one through. So see we're getting some coming right here. So maybe take away this one, leave kind of an open, empty green corner. Maybe in this one as well. Okay. Also, everyone's very happy. Everyone's very happy. Wonderful. And I hope you are as well, watching the video. So I think what we'll do here, up alongside the monorail here, is form a little bit of an emergency services block for this part of town. So I think we'll come through with a little bit of industrial road. And then we'll place in a police station. See what police station's going to look best here. We could go for the headquarters maybe. I think maybe just the regular old police station will be fine. What do we think of the police headquarters? I think we will go for that actually. Let's bring our industrial road around and up to the back of it. Fantastic. And again, very similar with our fire station. Let's go for just the regular small one, I think will be alright, won't it? Bring it round, take it off that, and then just box him in. A little too far away. Fantastic. Bring that one down. And then let's grab ourselves some pathways to link people through. That's what I kind of like to do with these little emergency services centres, if you like. Kind of whatever you call them. It's come through with some basic vanilla path, and then the orange tree fence works really nicely with them. If we hug, actually bring this right up to under the monorail, which will be nice. If you hug the pathway, almost gives it slight security vibes, I think. I think this is a much more interesting way of introducing some emergency services into a neighbourhood. Just clustering a couple of buildings together. You can do more than this if you want. Feel free to throw in some kind of medical care in there as well. That's a nice way to maybe introduce some cryopreservatory stuff if you're playing with the high-tech buildings pack. And then we can maybe come through. Doubt we'll get a rock decal in here, will we? No, we won't. Okay, that's fine. Let's instead play with some of the larger rock assets. Let's also bring our fence along here as well. Up until that point. Come off the angle while we're working with a little more of a finicky area. There we go. And then again. Lots of overgrowth in these fenced areas. No, it's not landscaped, it's not maintained, it's just there as a little security barrier for these emergency services. If for whatever reason you need to justify this kind of smaller micro detailing like this. I hope you agree, it's just a little more interesting, right? I think we can all get on board with that. Okay, fantastic. Let's continue to expand the road network over this side of the town now. Let's come back to all our snap-in bar road guideline. And we'll now just begin to merge up here, not with industrial road. With the treed road, thank you. And then we'll bring him up to this one for right now. This is just kind of my harsh border of where to end this suburb, right? It won't be the kind of this rigid. When we come to introduce a little kind of a more impressive roundabout and interchange over here. Should be a little more impressive, hopefully. Okay. And then I do want some houses right up alongside or behind these green cities flats over here. Flats, apartments, whatever you want to call them. And then I do want a kind of a very tight, rigid suburb design to sit this close to the highway. So we kind of see lots of houses here. Oh, should we check out some nighttime spies? How are we looking? Oh, yes. There it is, it's coming together, isn't it? It really is. And I think what we'll also do is introduce a couple of little highway entry and exit points, right? Maybe have a little industrial road here. And then switch on to regular highway. Let's go by freeform. Nice little highway ramp. And have people feed down there. Again, just to decorate this, I think we'll come through with some ore fence. And then just allow this to hug that road. Again, almost as some kind of safety barrier vibes, you know? We did something very similar over by the tram suburb. You can kind of see how this looks once it's kind of active and decorated. See right here? Did a very similar thing with the little one-way systems. It does get some use. Takes pressure off your kind of larger interchanges over there. We'll have something similar here as well. Just a little easier way for people to get onto the highway. Fantastic. So let's start bringing in some houses here. I'm after a very specific type of asset here, I think. Let's draw in some shapes and see what we kind of feel. Very small zonings. I guess we could actually separate it from here, couldn't we? And then just have it flow this way. Yeah, that's fine. I think I'm happy for the monorail to sit like that. That'll be okay. Is he receiving power? Oh yeah, he is. He's just about sinking through. I was wondering why he wasn't getting the little warning. Okay, yeah, this one's actually gone green cities, which is fine. But yeah, it's these smaller assets I'm after. Kind of the 3x3s and the 2x2s to kind of be the type of buildings that lie in this space. So go ahead, start mapping all of these out, and now kind of see what we look like once we fill out this block right here. So I'm just going to carry on introducing my little kind of suburban fence design. Don't like you, you can go away. Introducing some pathways through here as well. Again, we're using forestry fence to kind of border up these pathways. Sticking in our grid. Let's bring this as close as we can get it. There we go. And then start it again from this side where we move a little too close to the arterial. It's kind of dead path, you know, it's not overly functional, but can do some nice stuff with it. And that same kind of path upgrade trick again. Maybe have one that spans this way. Grab ourselves that nature reserve path. And upgrade all the way through here. And continue to repeat our fence palette. And again, we're not kind of overly fussed about the end of this suburb right here. This will be subject to change. So we'll just bring our fence down and behind like this. And of course we can either go very heavily kind of repeated landscape tree pattern, or go for something a little random. I'm kind of a big fan of these forestry fences with the tree with leaves number 2. I'm not sure if that's the Latin name for the tree, but pick a tree that you like. We'll just see a nice little repeated pattern that's going to come around this area. Come out from this side. Bring them up. I think this will be a little nicer on the eye. Let's come for a little bit of green cities. And of course that gives us some more room to actually expand and add another entryway into the cycle network, which will look quite nice. And then we can decorate out with some park fence, and then just allow those fences, and not fences, kind of benches and lights to help decorate up the street there. So a little bit of high density. I'm quite a fan of these ones here. I think we'll allow this one to go away. See if we can get a little look with the monorail here. Is there a monorail due? Yeah, fairly happy with that aesthetic thing. And then we can continue to link everyone through. Keep everyone happy with lots of pathways. That's going to help us to fill out those kind of quieter areas too. Fantastic. Same over here too. There's some pathways up and over to the monorail. Yeah, let's come off all our snapping while we're kind of working with these small little intricate designs up alongside or up underneath the cycleway. Allow some people to merge through there. Wonderful. I think we'll probably have a bus flowing around here as well at some point. Definitely need to work on some garbage collection too. Maybe stick this over by the highway somewhere. Maybe kind of where we have some empty space here. Have some kind of garbage services in. They do get over here because we were having a similar problem in this neighbourhood with garbage collection. Yeah, so it's still popping up. They do get over here, but is accumulating a little too much for my liking. But I think we are a fair old distance from any kind of refuse collection here. Okay, wonderful. Let's sweep through. So let's check the noise pollution from the monorail first of all. Okay, so about here is going to be a sensible point to continue the suburb from. And then we can then start to add in some smaller services over here. Maybe let's look at introducing a smaller elementary kind of school park over here like we did with the high school. Can we squeeze in an elementary here if we go for community school? Yeah, we can. Fantastic. And then let's maybe include maybe a carousel over here too. And maybe a little basketball court. Okay, so just something to fill out the space where we're too loud for any kind of residential here. And maybe the occasional commercial zone in here as well. Got some fencing. I think while we're kind of in the suburb here and not on the main road, we'll come through with a little bit of nature reserve. And bring us up into the corner. Open out the front. Fantastic. Just grab our pathway on the grid for opposite the metro. Again, we'll kind of come up and over here. And then we can connect out this side as well. Repeat our fence design. Let's also bring the pathway into this spot too. Lots of walkability. Everyone's going to be flying around here, especially now I see people using these pathways to get through to the monorail. Everyone's going to be quite appreciative of that, I think. Yeah, people are picking up that cycle infrastructure as well. How's that little slip road doing over here? Yeah, some people choosing to pick it up. See where he's going. Also catch him before he leaves. So they reside at the Sunnyside residence over here, and they're going to Zoo Cafe 1 all the way over to Palaven Zoo, which is damn long way. Long drive, but at least he's using the highway slip, right? I think we're happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to carry on zoning up some residential here. Let's bring ourselves to a nice close as to where this arterial lies, and then we'll dive into a detailed time lapse. Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, a like below is always appreciated. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Really happy with this. Nice combination of different assets, some car park spice, mixed residential zonings, lots of different styles, but obviously maintaining kind of Palaven's key themes and palettes of open green space, parkland, and just kind of trees and general niceness that we all are a big fan of course. There's still plenty of work to do around here. We need to come over to the river to the top of the screen there and introduce some more keys. And of course, when we come to work on the airport episodes, we will have to kind of introduce some kind of nice grandiose symmetrical interchange off of the back of this 6 lane, and of course feed it into the highway as well. So lots of nice infrastructure to come, I think, with this. Hang around for the rest of the outro tags. You guys wouldn't have seen all the detail, and of course we have to wait for that nighttime view to the skyline, which I've been eagerly awaiting for so long. Been waiting for this build forever, but I'm sure it will look great. Otherwise, I will shut up and I will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.